Hey guys, it's Captain Forest here, back with another Death Battle prediction. I have some friends on the channel today. Uh, I'm going to be going over, of course, Akuma versus Shao Kahn. I will be talking about Akuma. My boy Kurai here. Introduce yourself.
Yo, what's up? It's Lord Kurai, and I'll be covering Shao Kahn.
Yep, he'll be covering Shao Kahn. I also got some other friends on here today. I got my boy Corin.
Yo, what is up, everyone? Thanks for having me back, Forrest.
No problem. And I got my boy Jobber.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your lawyer, driver, good. Nice to be back on the here.
Awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Akuma. I will also then afterwards leave the mic over to Lord Kurai. He will talk about Shao Kahn, and Korin and Jobber. They can also give their final thoughts on who they think wins. And yeah, let's get started. So I'm not 100% sure what Death Battle is going to use. I don't know if they're going to use the comics. I don't know if they're going to use just the games or composite. Now, there are arguments you can make for the comics being connected to the Street Fighter games in its own way. But personally, it is a long route. In fact, I probably might make a video about that at some point. But just for like simplicity's sake, I will mention both game feats for some of Akuma's showings, and I'll mention some feats from the comics. So there's some stuff for the games. So like his AP, he's demonstrated to destroy an island, which was calced around Mountain Plus. He also has demonstrated as well that he scales above characters like E Honda easily. E Honda was able to destroy a meteor, which was also calced at island level. I will leave the calcs in the description. So moving on to like speed. So in the game, the speed is kind of garbage. So there's like low ends, like the realm of like bullet timing. So like, you know, supersonic speeds. There is the relativistic arguments as well. I think it was from Bison. I'll put that in the description. I believe that was in one of the alpha endings. So I'll put that in the description too for the relativistic calc. So that's pretty much it for like the games, like the AP and like the speed. I'll go on to the comics. I'll talk about the AP and speed for the comics as well. It's a lot more impressive, and I'll talk about the overall abilities because they share the same abilities as in the game and as well as the comics. So for the comics, so for like the low end stuff, so you can easily get like Akuma to like Universal Plus if you use the Darkstalker crossover, which is also canon in the comic. It was stated in the guidebook that they were in, that the Darkstalker verse and the fight that happened was all canon. It all like happens in that universe. So basically, Jeddah himself, he created his own space-time continuum with his own flesh and blood, and this same Akuma is able to rip this dude apart. So that's easily Universal Plus. You can get it higher into like Multiversal Plus, possibly Outerversal. That's like more of the high ends. So basically, Akuma was trapped inside of a void of emptiness, which is beyond mortals and demons, outside of space and time and all planes of reality. Akuma also journeyed through the land beyond the boundaries of reality in search of finding the answers he seeks. Akuma is able to break out of the empty void and realize that he has become one with the Satsui no Hado. This feat, depending on how you go about it, can range from like the low ends of like Uni Plus, 5D, or even Outerversal. And you can also make arguments for the Satsui no Hado being conceptual, which I'll get into that in a moment. So right there and there, you have some easily like Universal Plus, Multiversal Plus scaling, or even outer, depending on your interpretation. Now for speed, he has low ends. He's above Kami. Kami's able to dodge and react to Necro, who can shoot lightning out of his arms. She literally dodges and blitzes him and one-shots him. And another character that he's above easily is Alex, who was able to react and throw, I think it's Ippy, in front of Necro before the lightning could even tag Alex. It tags Ippy instead, so it's pretty consistent that, you know, the lower end feats are like MFTL. Sorry, not MFTL, like massively hypersonic. So they're all lightning timers at the low ends. Now, for the better speed scaling, there is immeasurable speed. Again, scaling off Jeddah. So basically, Jeddah was able to move outside of time and space, which is easily measurable. So he's not bound by linear time. He was able to move outside of it pretty nicely, just fine. So right there and there, you have some pretty nice immeasurable speed scaling. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to some of Akuma's hacks and abilities. So Akuma has chi. His chi attacks are spiritual in nature. They affect you on a physical, spiritual, and mental level. He can perform like pretty special attacks, so he can pretty much use abilities like the Raging Demon, which destroys your soul on a spiritual level. The Raging Demon can also BFR souls too. He can use the Satsui no Hado to also teleport to different areas, which is very impressive. He can also use the Karetsuha, which is a giant explosion of ki, which he basically engulfs his opponent in this ki fiery blast, which is very impressive. It's like a small little concussive blast on the ground. Akuma knows other like abilities, so he can like teleport. He has the demon teleportation. He can also phase through objects as well. He's been able to phase through chi, which is very impressive. He's also been able to teleport away from Goken when he was fighting Goken, which is pretty impressive. Akuma also has precognition. He's been able to smack and beat Ryu. He's above Ryu. Ryu has the mind's eye, which allows Ryu to anticipate attacks before they occur, so he's able to see them. And this same Akuma literally is able to literally just beat and get past Ryu's precognition. And Akuma can also give himself like a chi barrier as well, which allows him to give him like a layer of armor. So if his opponents like attack him, he can just absorb the attack and then counterattack, which is very impressive. Now, moving on to some of his other stuff as well. So, yes, Akuma's also another thing to mention. Akuma's chi as well, just like the rest of Street Fighter characters who can use chi. Chi can also vaporize you as well, so it literally atomizes you, which is very impressive. Akuma can also sense ki as well, pretty easily. So that's how he's able to like detect people from a distance, just like how he's able to sense Gen. Akuma's able to affect shadows as well. He can fight shadows. He was able to also detect shadows. He was able to fight Kage and defeat him, who Akuma states as a soulless silhouette. More conceptual arguments for the Satsui no Hado. The official Street Fighter Facebook page states the story of Kage, that Kage is basically the embodiment of the Satsui no Hado, and that's the same thing that Akuma uses, and Akuma's able to defeat Kage. And basically, he just basically surpasses Kage. Because Akuma basically seeks out enlightenment. He's trying to basically surpass heaven, which is pretty impressive. So, in terms of like skill, now Akuma was able to like scrap with Ryu. He's defeated Ryu. Ryu's a master of a Satsuken. Akuma also, like in fights, he's able to analyze his opponent. as he fights them, so he can like pretty much break down his opponent. He can look for weaknesses and like counteract his opponent and find ways to defeat them. And another thing as well for Akuma, he was able to fight Oro, and this is impressive. Now, yes, like Oro teaches Ryu, like he tries to help Ryu like surpass and find enlightenment too. And the reasons why this feat is impressive is because Oro, when he fights Akuma, he's pretty much impressed with Akuma's strength, and he's impressed with his skill. And Akuma states himself here that he transcends all forms of martial arts, and he has mastery over matter and energy, which is a crazy statement for Akuma. And it's also backed up with Oro being impressed, even though Akuma does eventually lose in the end, which is also a good feat for Oro. So they both got some really good skill scaling. So yeah, overall, that's pretty much it for Akuma, depending on how, depending on Death Battle's interpretation. I think they're probably going to use low-end feats. I don't know if they're going to use comics. If they use comics, they'll probably use some of the low-end feats as well, which I also forgot to mention for the comics. There's like a large island-level feat, which was performed by Bison, where Bison basically channels this satellite, and this satellite blasts psycho energy, and it was able to like blow up like a huge like area of a mountain, and that was calced around like large island. And this Akuma literally just, he bullies Bison, he embarrasses him, he one-shots him with the Raging Demon. So that's some low-end stuff they might use for the comics, I guess. So the low-end feats are pretty similar to the games. But yeah, depending on how you take the interpretation, that's where I have Akuma. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic off to Lord Kurai.
Okay, so also for when it comes to Mortal Kombat, it's kind of like in the same boat as for Street Fighter, of what Death Battle is going to use for their interpretations, because like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are similar in scenarios to where they do have games and comics as well, to which you can use the comics as well to even support it to being related to the games. So now we're going to start off with AP with the low ends. Now for the low ends of like Shao Kahn inside the games, you can easily get him to planet level. For the low ends for planet level, because in this he was able to turn a whole entire planet, like literally poof the planet away and make it come back into his own image. So there's that for planet level. But if you want to go a little bit higher inside the games, he does have like universal stuff, and the universal stuff mainly comes from Unaga. Now, for when it comes to Unaga, Unaga inside the games was able to collect all the Kami Dojo, and all the Kami Dojo in Mortal Kombat was stated to have infinite power. And then Shao Kahn is easily above this because Onaga basically cuts down to Shao Kahn just like everyone else does in Mortal Kombat. Then there's also like higher stuff like Uni Plus stuff to where also Onaga as well, who was able to merge all existence into himself and basically gaining all that power. And then that goes back again to where to where basically Onaga basically cuts down to Shao Kahn. There's that. There is higher stuff depending on how you feel about the Elder Gods and the power that amped Raiden. But when it comes to that, we really don't know how powerful the Elder Gods are, because at the same time, the Elder Gods were absolutely afraid of Shao Kahn as well, and that's why they gave Raiden their power just so he can fight Shao Kahn. Then even in the end of that, even amped by the gods in Mortal Kombat, Shao Kahn was still arguably stronger than Raiden. It was just Raiden in the end just caught him off guard and basically was able to like null him. So now when it comes down to like if we want to talk about haxes, I mean I'm not haxes. So let's go over speed first. When it comes to speed, you can easily get him to like relativistic, easily because dodging Scepter's like lasers and other characters' lasers without within the Mortal Kombat franchise. Now there is a immeasurable speed, immeasurable speed that you could use, and this basically comes from from the Elder Gods, and the Elder Gods that were fighting the other Elder Gods to make to like turn the realms into 6 different realms. Now, this is actually very impressive because this said that when all the Elder Gods were fighting, that they were fighting in a timeless void. Literally fighting in a timeless void, and they were literally fighting in there. And then again, back to what I said again, to where the Elder Gods basically cut down to Shao Kahn. So, and Shao Kahn is easily above the Elder Gods when it comes, and so we can easily get Shao Kahn to immeasurable speed in the games. So now, finally, we're going to talk about haxes. Now, Shao Kahn has loads of haxes. Now, something I want to get over first is basically Shao Kahn's biggest and baddest when it comes to like his haxes, which is his soul hacks. Shao Kahn's soul hacks is very impressive because this is very impressive because not only that he resists his soul hacks, but there's also layers upon it to where of how many souls that are within Shao Kahn in himself. Now, how many souls? If we want to go with the low end, we can go with the low end basically by saying that because Shao Kahn was able to absorb all of the Earth realms, everyone that was in Earth realm, which is basically Earth, in Earth's universe, basically all of their souls within him. So now all those souls are within him. You can go now. There's 2 things that you can go based off of this. For the low end first, you could basically just say how many people are on Earth. So basically, if we were to say how many people were on Earth, like around the time when the game came out, you can easily get 7 billion souls that were within Shao Kahn because of how many people are on Earth. You can easily get that. And there's, if you want to go with the higher end stuff, you can even say that there was infinite souls that are also mentioned within the games as well, to where Shao Kahn possesses infinite amounts of souls within him. So literally, it's like Shao Kahn has infinite layers of soul hacks, of like soul haxes and soul resistances. That's how many layers that he has. That is the one of his biggest like win cons and one of his biggest hacks is that he can use. Now, when it comes to his other ones, he is very versatile in weaponry. He's a mastery in weaponry and a mastery in martial arts in itself. But even though that Shao Kahn is known for being a brawler, he still scales above Raiden, who has 32 like layers into like martial arts, and then also Shang Tsung, who also knows every martial arts known to man and is also a master at it as well. He also has resurrection, to where let's say if he were to get killed, he can resurrect himself instantly. He also has biological manipulation as well, to where basically he can literally like make stuff happen to your body. Let's say for an example, he could like make one of your arms become like an octopus, or literally like or like in with whatnot. He also has dimensionality manipulation as well. There is that, and he also has regeneration on a low godly state, because he was able to destroy Liu Kang as well, and actually able to take hits from him and then easily regenerated from that. Immortality, he has immortality on a type 3. He also has a causality as well, type 2 when it comes to Raiden, and then also being above like the Elder Gods as well. He also has like some things as well, because again, with all those souls that he absorbed, he can use those souls to create like a skeleton army, to which he can use and also create like other like soul based projectiles, and also people that can help him as well. He also has existence erasure as well because during in one of the Mortal Kombat games he was actually able to literally tore Shang-Chi's like Shang Tsung's body from existence. He was literally able to like literally grab him and then tear it from existence and then literally erase him. But then later on, because Shao Kahn needed him, so basically he basically restored him back. But basically he had a new body and he had a new ideology at itself because to where he didn't even know who he was in the first place. Also he also has status manipulation to where he can like lower your stats. Like this is via the games, like mini games in Mortal Kombat as well. He also has aura as well because like what's literally around him in the Mortal Kombat games that you see is literally like his raw green aura in itself as well. And also has memory manipulation too as well, to where he can literally erase people's memories and affect their memories, like and even brainwashing them. That as well. So now, when it comes to Shao Kahn's other stuff as well, even from the comics, he's easily able and superior to Kanko, who's able to cross dimensions too as well. He was like when it comes to that too as well, and even affecting them as well. And yeah, that's basically all that's it for basically Shao Kahn. So yeah, if the others want to give their thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'll go last.
Okay.
Go first. I'll get my thoughts on this battle one I've heard from both of you, from Forrest and excuse me, from Korai. Now, when it comes to both of these characters, I think this is going to be a really good fight. It seems like, well, yeah, it just seems like Shao Kahn has a lot more like options, like in the hacks department, and like hacks resistances too. That Dio can just like just throw at him, right, or throw certain attacks to try to get by, like just get right by his durability. But he just has like resistances to it. And for like the scaling of both characters, now I don't think Death Battle is gonna go like that far in the comics in terms of like scaling like Akuma that high. You can get Akuma to like I think Universal Plus or something, but they're most likely gonna use like island level feats. But with Mortal Kombat, it seems like with some of the skin like the planetary stuff seems just right off the bat. So I could just imagine the Death Battle being like, well, they have Akuma at like island level, or and they'll try to maybe scale him higher from a meteor feat to get him like way higher than that. But then like, well, Shao Kahn's planetary and he has all these crazy hacks and stuff. In the end, like there's not much Akuma can really do. And they're probably also going to bring up the fact that like Akuma's attack, like what was the Raging Demon, isn't really going to affect like Shao Kahn really because he has resistance to that too. So that's probably another win con for Akuma that's just thrown away. But I think that's what I think of this fight so far. I think they're going to have Shao Kahn winning. I mean, I'm rooting for Akuma, of course. He's an OG, but I think Death Battle's going to have Shao Kahn winning. And that's my thoughts.
Right on. So for me, yeah, it does really depend because I could see potential for them going with the universal route. What I mean by that is I could see them posting up in like the little right-hand corner as like a note, like, oh yeah, this character has arguments to be this high, but if you want to go that route, they may say that, oh, the other one does too. So if you want to do that for one, the other has it, and it may not matter because this one still has like the crazy hacks. So they may do that route and still just go with the lower stuff, like vocally, like mountain, island, or multi-continent, planet level. Because I've seen some, like even country level calcs for Mortal Kombat on the real low end for like their restricted states, for like shaking the planet to the core of the earth. I've seen stuff like that as well. That's been calculated like country to multi-continent, and then the stuff Kira brought up, like planet and even far higher. So, and everything Forrest brought up, like in terms of skill, that is also tricky, but skill may not ultimately matter. But I do think it's an interesting topic to see which one of these dudes would be more skilled at the end of the day. But that being said, again, it may not be entirely relevant if one just has a massive AP speed and hacks advantage. And again, even if they're like relative in AP and speed, it does seem like, Shao Kahn may have the better potency, the better layers of hacks and resistances. So, yeah. But if we do go with like the highest scaling for both, I actually have heard like outer versal art, like kind of high ends for both, you could say. And I've heard like 5D arguments for both. I've heard universal arguments for both. So like if you go with the higher stuff, they definitely could potentially end up in the same ballpark. It just comes down to which one you want to argue higher, give or take. But again, the hacks. So yeah, I think I kind of agree that they're probably going to go more so with the island. Yeah, they may bring up the meteor thing to say, even if we gave Akuma this feat, busting the meteor and say it's moon level, I've seen a calc for like moon level. Oh, well, Shao Kahn does this to the planet and it can get this much higher, So it's like, I can just see it's kind of one of those things. Oh, whatever Akuma can do in this situation, Shao Kahn can potentially do even better. You know what I mean? And then some. So, yeah. I mean, that being said, I may have to exit out with Shao Kahn more often than not in this specific situation. But I hope both sides get justice. That's for sure. Like always, Hope it's a fun time. So, yeah, Shao Kahn more often than not for me. And with that being said, C Justice is here. You want to give your thoughts real quick?
Yeah. I know these are like two returning combatants. And like, the one thing I'm hoping they're not going to do is, say, rehash old research in this match. Like I know they're probably going to go with, say, favoring Shao Kahn winning this. But the one thing I'm just hoping they don't do is bring up some of the old research that they used to do for it. I mean, I know they're probably not going to do, like, say, the high-end stuff for, say, Akuma into, like, the comics. I mean, heck, they might surprise us and might, heck, I don't know, maybe bring in Shura's Wrath or something. Not like it's really going to change too much. But it would be something interesting if they at least spice the research up. But yeah, that's pretty much just what I gotta say on it.
Okie doke. One last thing as well. I did also forget to mention some resistances, but I will also just mention briefly some of the resistances, and I'll give my overall thoughts too. Akuma does have like resistance to like void manipulation, of course. That would go into the realm of existence erasure because he was able to bust out of this void and he wasn't erased by it. He does have some soul resistances. He was able to bust out of Nakali, and Nakali was trying to consume Akuma's soul, and Akuma completely negged that, which was very impressive. Of course, Akuma does have some mind resistance. He also has like, because basically the Satsui no Hado itself, you could even argue like the mind resistance and the soul resistances also, he has some like resistances on a conceptual level, of course, with the Satsui no Hado arguments. The Satsui no Hado itself makes you go insane. Like if you are unable to control it, it literally makes you go insane. Akuma literally, he has it on like bro, like it's nothing. He's able to control such a power. Ryu, on the other hand, he's a wimp. He can't even control it. He literally needs some old ass nigger, Dulcim, and freaking Goken to try and help him control that. And Akuma can just, he's like a mastery arguably of it. He can control it pretty well, which is very impressive. But overall, if we look at things from like a lower degree, like yes, I also forgot to mention like the moon level calc. There's arguments for it to be planetary. I think those are calc for that, but I'm not 100% sure. But I just think it just comes down, like, even if you look at like layers and quantification, I do think like Shao Kahn's a little more hacksy. Akuma could resist some of the stuff, but again, going off hacks potency resistances, if Shao Kahn takes AP, it's not going to matter. Like, Akuma's literally going to get squashed like a pancake by the hammer. Skill is pretty arguable, depending on how you go off and the feats and stuff. I low-key feel like Akuma may have the edge in skill, but again, it could amount to nothing if, Shao Kahn has the AP edge, as well as the hacks. The chi would also be pretty helpful, but again, just Shao Kahn just has some crazy like resistances, especially the quantification with the soul resistances. Like, goddamn, was it 7 billion people? And that's just a warm up. That's just like, freaking perfect Shao warming up type of resistance. So I don't think that will even do anything. I think Shao Kahn would take that pretty nicely, especially if you look at like, the higher end stuff for like the comics. That'd be pretty interesting. That, I want to see how Death Battle goes. I want to see if they go far in the rabbit hole of that scaling, but I'm not too confident with that. But yeah, I think overall, even if you use like the games and like the low end stuff for like both combatants, I just think Shao Kahn's just better. I think you take victory a little more, even though I do prefer Akuma more than Shao Kahn. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. If anyone else wants to give their final thoughts.
Sure. Okay, so now when it comes to my final thoughts, I'm kind of like in the same boat to where basically, if it's me, since I scale, I scale both, but when it comes to skill, I really do give the skill edge to Akuma in this. Just basically, it's just basically because like we have more like stuff like that's for Akuma. That's like, like we have more stuff for like Akuma rather than Shao Kahn, to which basically Shao Kahn is basically above this person who has this many, above that one, and above that one, above that one. I think Akuma's is more rock solid, and also when it comes to this about the haxes and the layers into it, Shao Kahn does have it as well. So even if they were to have them in the similar ranges, I'm pretty sure at the end of the day they would end up giving Shao Kahn the win just because of the souls, but just basically of the souls in his hacks, and that might even go based off of like the same logic of what they did, like based like Bison versus Shao Kahn. Maybe they might go based off of that basically, and may basically go off of that soul stuff that Shao Kahn also has. But in the end of the day, like Akuma still has some stuff. He still has some win cons that that's the end of the day that he still could use. But in the end, I would end up siding with Shao Kahn just basically because of AP and then plus the haxes as well. And that's just my final thoughts.
Okie doke. Anyone else?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Perfect.
I'm done.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Suck your mom's pussy.
Yeah.